Hold on. Welcome in, you guys. It's Kirsten Liebelt. So good to see you. How are you doing? Make sure that I fix that. Okay. Good to see you guys. It is Thursday, January 30th. It's really good to see you guys. How are you doing? How are you doing? So today, you guys, I want to talk to you about, this is so fascinating to me. I am always in the process of like reverse engineering. So in our conversations that we have daily, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time about insulin resistance, I have always wondered why, when I ended up having my shoulder surgery and it froze, and I got online and I checked out the reasons why, and I found these commonalities with women in their early 50s having frozen shoulder. Why was that me? Why? I mean, I didn't understand. Like, I mean, I was 50, but I was like, what's the connection? What's the connection? Y'all, like, seriously, hold on to your hats. There's a connection between frozen shoulder and insulin resistance. Now, if you don't have a frozen shoulder, or if this is not, whatever related to you, number one, share it with somebody who needs to hear this. But number two, just remember that as we talk about the different pieces that are connected, it really is meant for you to understand how insulin resistance is the very base of the base of the base of freaking everything. Like, I have one conversation with you guys. It's just 500 hours long. One conversation, but it literally is affecting everything in your life. And how frustrating is this that we don't know this? I mean, honestly, I had gestational diabetes when I was 22. Nobody told me that it would make me 7 times more likely to be type 2 in my family. I was, even though my dad, was type 2. And then by the time I was 30, he was dead. He was 63. I had frozen shoulder. Nobody knows nothing. Nobody, oh, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Everything is, we don't know. I'm so tired of we don't know. Are you tired of we don't know? Like, I had my shoulder surgery, never had a cycle again, went to a pre-op for my second surgery 6 months later because it froze on me and they were going to fix it. And a female doctor said to me, I go, so what's the connection with like surgery and then like losing my cycle? She goes, oh, there's no connection. And I'm like, so I just, you know what? Let's just band together. Let's be a community of women who freaking take back our health. And I just am like, I received a testimony today. So listen, I know that, we're going to talk about frozen shoulder here and the connection so that you can have a better understanding of it. Good morning, Terry. Good to see you. Good to see you. And we're going to chat about that here. I just received a text this morning from, and I should have double checked because I want to make sure that I'm right. I don't want to say 45 pounds if it was only 40 pounds. And I also don't want to say 40 pounds if it was 45 pounds. So we're going to say it's between 40 and 45 pounds. Okay. But do you think that you are too old to lose weight? Do you think that in your head? I just turned 60. I know Terry's 62, lost 40 pounds last year. Do you think you're too old? Okay. It's a question. I seriously, like, do you resign yourself to thinking, well, this is just the way that it is? I should probably just embrace this whole obesity thing. For me, you know what it was for me? My most recent limited belief was I thought that my hips right here, like you probably can't see it. You can see it on Instagram. I thought that my hips, I was probably going to be able to lose weight other places, just not my hips. I mean, I don't know. It was just, I wasn't really like waking up and thinking about it, but I was thinking that way. That was my thought process until I started the thermogenic, the thermogenic orange pixie stick powder. Okay. And then that undid that limiting belief. But since August, I have a customer who just texted me right before I jumped on here. She'll be 75 in March. Okay. Just hold on. 75 in March. And she's lost 40 to 45 pounds. Are you kidding me? I'm just like, she said, I'm running around with the 20-something-year-olds here. She still works. She goes, I'm running around with the 20-something-year-olds. And I have energy to keep up. Like, come on, you guys, believe for yourself. Believe for yourself. Don't give up. And if you are having, excuse me, if you are having results like that, tell your friends, tell your sister-in-law, tell your daughter-in-law, tell people so that other people can have the same results. Because I am fully convinced that women are sliding into their 40s. They are insulin resistant. They do not know it. And this can last forever. You don't know it. Like, look at, she's going to be 75 in March. She's probably been insulin resistant for a really long time, right? And she didn't realize that she just needed to change the lens that she was looking at her weight loss through. Because you're being screamed at all day, every day. If you watch TV, and I mean, I don't know, is there regular TV anymore? I don't know. But I assume that somewhere in our universe, I just don't watch a lot of stuff. Somewhere in our universe are probably still ads, right? Okay, maybe it's Facebook now, right? So you're scrolling. Doggone it. Now I'm going to tell now these are the ads that I'm going to get. But you'll get the system ad, if you know what I mean. You know which one. You'll get, the prepackaged food ad, the points ad, all of these different ads, right? None of them were designed for insulin resistant people. So this morning when I was on another text and she said, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm 260 pounds and they just, why can't I budge a pound? And I'm telling you, I'm fully convinced. Good morning, Kristen. Good to see you. It's insulin resistance. And if you try to live on the edges of dealing with it, you're just going to be frustrated. So this is very, very fascinating to me in talking about frozen shoulder. And the reason why is because it fires me up on another level, and I'll try to just stay calm. But how maddening is it that another connection is there that we're not told about? So for me, it was 10 years ago. Okay. I've never heard this, ever. Has anybody heard this, that there's a connection with metabolic syndrome and frozen shoulder? I only heard that it was the age of early 50s, menopausal aged women, perimenopause, menopause, crossing over aged women. So therefore it was hormonal. Insulin is a hormone. Why did I never make this connection? What the heck? This is why women, we have got to stop listening to all of the marketing and all of the ads. We've got to take back our bodies through thinking about hormones, and don't let that conversation feel like it's really super mountainous to you. Don't let that it's hormonal make you go, oh, throw in the towel. Who can understand hormones? Nobody can understand hormones. That's not true. And especially if you'll just stick with me for half a minute and track like my content, you'll understand insulin is the number one hormone that is off. And it domino affects all the others, from literally including like your cortisol, your thyroid hormones, like a domino effect. Okay, so let's get into this. This is very, very fascinating. And then at the end, I'm going to give you other symptoms that people have never heard of. So this is just the first one, which is frozen shoulder. Okay. So most people would never know that there is a connection there. And so frozen shoulder, you'll have stiffness, pain, limited mobility. Mine came from a surgery because I had a torn rotator cuff from a car accident. But oftentimes women just wake up and they have a frozen shoulder. Hello. And you're like, what? What's going on? Insulin resistance contributes to chronic inflammation, which can affect connective tissue in joints. And your shoulder is the only joint in your body that can literally turn. I actually don't have a real answer for you, but it has the most mobility and it can go the most directions. Like, there is no other joint like your shoulder joint. Okay. Your knee joint can't do that. Your hip joint can't do that. Your fingers can't do what your shoulder can. This joint is very specific. So if you have high inflammation, which oftentimes is high insulin, right? This is the problem. Kristen, I love Kristen. She's loving on my TikTok, and that means everything. Thank you. It's like a job, man. Doing the Lord's work, Kristen. So people with type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes, or dare I just say insulin resistance, you can be insulin resistant for years and decades before you ever even know about it in your sugars. They are prone to developing this condition. Okay. And let me see here. So frozen shoulder or adhesive capsulitis is a condition where the shoulder joint becomes stiff, painful, and gradually loses its range of motion. It develops when the connective tissue around the shoulder joint thickens and tightens, restricting movement. So you'll have pain, that's the freezing stage. Gradual onset of pain in the shoulder, often worse at night or with movement. It can last like 6 to 9 months. Pain may lessen, but the shoulder becomes increasingly stiff and difficult to move. Daily tasks like dressing, reaching overhead, or sleeping on the affected side becomes challenging. That can last like 4 to 12 months. And then there is a gradual return of the shoulder mobility and function through some stiffness. Though stiffness might remain, and it can take 6 months to 2 years. So it can be a process. And when I went and I had my massage the other day, and she really worked on my shoulder, because it's been 10 years for me, but I actually had surgery twice on it. So I worked really hard for my mobility, and then she did a lot of armpit work on me, and that was very helpful, but painful. But anyway, but if you have frozen shoulder, and she said to me, she said, I had a patient. So this is a tip for somebody out there, and it may not be you. It might be your daughter, your daughter-in-law. It just depends, right? But she said, I had somebody, they had a surgery scheduled to fix their frozen shoulder. And it was the surgery was coming up in 2 weeks. And we did this armpit universe, whatever, and never needed surgery. So it's possible that there are alternative, because you never want surgery if you don't need it. If you do not need surgery, you do not want, because it will then create scar tissue, right? Anesthesia is hard on your body, right? Like there are reasons why, we don't want surgery for, a lot of reasons. But anyway, so they avoided it. So that's just one thing that just a little tippy poo out there, like frozen shoulder doesn't last forever, et cetera. Can that happen in hip joints as well? I've never heard of that, but that's super interesting. I would assume that high inflammation affects every single joint in your body. I don't know if you freeze a hip joint, if that happens. You had a frozen shoulder over a year. Physio did it. That's awesome. Oh, physio did little. So this makes sense. Isn't this interesting? And I'll tell you, and again, I just had somebody this morning say, because remember yesterday, well, on any given day, because I represent an entire line of supplementation that's really potent and powerful, like I'm just telling you, like on any given day, I might throw something out there. And so I think it was yesterday I mentioned the turmeric, how it's 45 times more absorbable. Taking 400 milligrams of mine is like 6,000 of somebody else's. And somebody texted me this morning. She goes, you are exactly right. Your turmeric is completely different. Well, the thing is that high insulin creates high inflammation, and high inflammation creates frustration in your joints. I'm fully convinced now, looking back at my mother's journey, she had in her 50s, she started with hip replacements, and then she ended up having a knee replacement. And I'm fully convinced that it could have all been avoided. I'm just telling you, I'm sure that it can be all avoided, because it's just about high inflammation. She was insulin resistant. She had no idea. She eventually, this Swedish woman who had no type 2 in her family, no type 2 to be seen in her family. Like, where was it? Where was it? Where was her genetic type 2? Didn't exist. But she became her own carboholic. She was married to my dad, who was Italian. You see the connection, people? She eventually became type 2 and then had dementia, because dementia is type 3, insulin resistance of the brain. Okay, so do you see the connections? So her inflammation was so high starting in her 50s, just bam, bam, bam. So any joint can be negatively affected by inflammation. I've never heard of a frozen hip, but I am not a doctor, so I don't know. Orthopedic massage therapists are wonderful for healing frozen shoulder. Isn't that wonderful? I love alternative. Man, if you can avoid surgery, do it at all costs. Like really try hard, because I'll tell you, it makes a difference, right? Good morning, Phyllis from Arkansas. It's so good to see you. Have I heard of having no inflammation markers in blood work, but feeling pain in all joints often? No, but I wouldn't say that that's really completely like, I don't know if I've had enough conversations to have heard that maybe. So I have not. Pain in all joints, but your inflammation markers are low. That is super curious, isn't it? I know, Terry. She says, what frozen shoulder connection? I had frozen shoulder several years ago. And this is literally why I'm bringing this to the table. This is why. Because again, people are like, how do you know you're insulin resistant? Kirsten, how did you know that you were insulin resistant? Well, I've always said, because I started with gestational diabetes in my 20s, and that is 100% true. That was the beginning of being diagnosed, although they never said anything to me. So that didn't help me, but that was the beginning. And then now I can look at all of the different other symptoms that were happening through my 30s and my 40s. Little did I know that when my shoulder froze, that was a really big symptom of metabolic dysfunction. Now, you would have looked at me and thought, of course she has metabolic dysfunction. I was a 2X. I was exhausted all the time. I was like chasing carbs, sugar, salt, sweet, salt, sweet, salt. I was like, you would not have gone, really? You're metabolically dysfunctional? No, but the frozen shoulder thing, this just ticks me off. Literally, you guys, I'm 10 years out. 10 years out just hearing about this. 10 years. How long do we have to wait to get this conversation going? Why do we never ever get these conversations as women? Honestly, it just is absolutely mind-boggling that we have to like sit around together and have a cup of coffee to figure out our own life because we cannot get answers from our providers. Or it's just not showing up in the news, or it's not showing up on our social media, whatever. It's just not showing up as readily available as it is to find out about the next script that you should be taking. Ask your doctor, ask your doctor, ask your doctor. I mean, you might have a limb fall off or anal leakage, or you might die, but ask your doctor about that script. I'm just saying, like, keeps me going because I'm fired up, right? So insulin resistance and diabetes are significant risk factors for frozen shoulder. Chronically high blood sugar levels can increase glycation. Glycation is sugar binding to proteins, leading to thickened and less flexible connective tissue. Inflammation driven by insulin resistance exacerbates the condition, promoting pain and restricting movement. So conservative management would be physical therapy. You can do anti-inflammatory measures, lifestyle changes, reduce inflammation, like diet supplementation, which is what I talk about all the time. Medical interventions might include, and this is where the only reason why I ended up having surgery was because it was a car accident and it was torn way down in there, and they didn't know it for 5 years. For 5 years, they didn't know it until they did an MRI. So cortisol injections, actually corticosteroid injections, temporarily reduce pain and inflammation. Hydrodilation injection of fluid into the joint capsule to stretch it. Surgical release, that was me. Rarely needed, involves releasing the tightened capsule under anesthesia. Yep. Metabolic management. So this is probably where I come in the most for everybody. So listen up if you think you're insulin resistant. And maybe like Terry goes, wait a second, I actually had frozen shoulder years ago. Like, that was actually a symptom and you didn't even know it, right? Because we're not told. So Kristen, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Since insulin resistance is a root contributor, addressing it can help. This is where we talk about low carb, whole food diet. We talk about using supplementation, and I can share that with you in just a second. Prioritizing exercise, of course, and anytime you go for a walk, anytime you're like doing resistance training, you're helping your blood sugar stay more stabilized. It's a big deal. At-home techniques, you can apply heat before stretching to relax the muscles. And a gentle pendulum exercises to keep the joint mobile. So, swinging your arm and things like that. Okay. That would be kind of the fullness of that. But is that just not like amazing? And again, please share this with somebody who you think would benefit from understanding the insulin resistance root. So it is just shocking to me. So when I talk about insulin resistance, the reason why this is the conversation of my life, and my husband he gave me a birthday card this week, and he in it said, he was just saying the qualities that we've been married 37 years. And he was saying really nice things to me. And one of them was, he said, thank you for pursuing your heart purpose. And, I will defend myself, of course. If somebody, says that I don't have a vested interest or an authentic reason to be having this conversation all the time. That doesn't happen to me very often, but it has happened. Because it literally was my life. When my dad and mom got pregnant with me, that's when he got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So he went from 35 to 63 dead. Okay. And that was literally my life. And so that's when, he would have had to have gone from 33. He must have been diagnosed at 33, had me at 35. No, he must have had me at 33, and then he diagnosed at 35 in my memory, and then he died at 63 because I was 30 when he died. Linda, you had both shoulders done and one knee replacement. Yep, I know, you guys. Everybody just take a deep breath. It's like left and right. We have hip surgeries and knee surgeries. This was my mother's life. Anyway, and so in talking about insulin resistance, like that was my universe, right? Italian, type 2 obesity everywhere in my family. And now being 60, looking back over what I did in my 50s, getting the revelation in my mind that, through people like Maria Emmerich, Dr. Ken Berry, et cetera, the revelation of OMG, if you do not bring down your insulin, you can't lose fat. If you do not help your liver to function at a higher level, you can't burn fat. Like, these are just scientific conversations that we're having, right? And when I understood that, and I supplemented, like pulling an arrow back, and I supplemented specifically for insulin resistance, I lost 3 sizes in my 50s, but I also at the same time avoided type 2, and I'm the only one in my family that did. So instead of doing all of the meds, all of the answers, just have another surgery, have another script, I did none of that. Okay. And I just always say that it was a God journey for me, because it wasn't because I was smart. It's not. It's because people kind of came in my way and I paid attention. They came into my path and I paid attention. Here are some other things that are connected to insulin resistance that maybe you've never heard. So frozen shoulder is an odd one, right? And hello, this should tell us things, right? But here we go. Hearing loss. This is interesting. Insulin resistance can affect microvascular circulation, which may lead to damage in the inner ear, contributing to hearing issues over time. I had no idea. Did you know that one? Skin tags, we talk about this one a lot, so this is maybe more common to you. These small growths, often on the neck or underarms, are strongly associated with insulin resistance. Gum disease. Chronic inflammation in the gums can both worsen and be worsened by insulin resistance. My dad had terrible gingivitis, horrible, awful. Uric acid levels. High uric acid, commonly associated with gout, is also linked to insulin resistance and metabolic dysfunction. It's not coming from the red meat. It's not coming from the red meat. Gout is being caused by insulin resistance. Frozen shoulder, adhesive capsulitis of the shoulder has been shown to have strong connection with metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance. PCOS, you probably know that one. Polycystic ovary syndrome, while better known, many people still don't realize insulin resistance plays a major role in this condition. Eye health, insulin resistance increases the risk of retinopathy and even cataracts due to oxidative stress. In conversation last night with a lady who is newly connected to me, and she has blurry vision now. My grandpa Fergali, my Italian grandpa who came from Italy, he was blind in a wheelchair and died in his 60s. I think he was in his 60s. Maybe he was early 70s. He must have been in his 70s because I think he was old. He was older than my grandma. So he was in his 70s. My dad only made it to his 60s. So, but he was blind. So it's eyesight. Okay. So cataracts. Okay. It can be connected to insulin resistance. And then the last one that might not be as known is our mental health disorders. Beyond anxiety and depression, research shows that insulin resistance is linked to conditions like bipolar disorder and cognitive decline. So, what if we are trying to fix? What if we were trying to put a Band-Aid on a gaping wound by prescribing SSRIs, by prescribing all of these things that are not even hitting the root cause? Why do you think that people who go carnivore, and I'm not carnivore, but why do you think people that go carnivore, their mental health increases? Because their insulin resistance is coming down and their cell is opening up and becoming more sensitive. So insulin and glucose can get into the cell, and their mental health gets better. Okay, so are you tracking? Is everybody tracking? Hello, Carol. She says, hello, lovely people. Hello, Carol, you lovely person, you. Make sure I'm not missing anything. I might be missing stuff. I can see messages coming in. Okay, very, very good. Okay, so now when we wrap up this conversation, it's like I'm always talking to you about insulin resistance. And so, you know, I should have just a testimony day. I should probably do that so you can just hear testimonials. I started this broadcast, this show today with a testimony from a client of mine she'll be 75 in March. So please, if you think you're too old, you have to hear this, because since last August, she has lost, it's either 40 or 45 pounds. I was so dang excited. I didn't commit it to memory in that moment. It was 40 or 45. So we'll say 40 to 45 pounds. I'll find the testimony. I'll screenshot it and put it in my stories today. So Instagram, Facebook, it'll be in my stories for you. And she also said she's off. Her cardiologist took her off of one of her meds. The other day, somebody told me that I don't want to say, I think, okay, it doesn't matter. Just got off of a fibro med. Do you understand what we're doing here? Do you understand the mission, the cause and the mission of what we're doing? We're saying no to the matrix. We're taking back our own health because we're tired of not getting any answers. Because we're not talking about the C word. That does require maybe a team to help us navigate. This team needs to be you, yourself, and you. Now, I'm here to support you. I fully support you. Like I'll be your biggest cheerleader. I'll help you navigate. I'll help you tweak. I'm right in the middle of helping somebody like completely tweak their supplementation routine. Fantastic. I will do that for you. I'll help you learn the ingredient trade outs and the recipes. And we have another 5-day insulin resistant reset. Let's lose weight starting on Monday in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. I'll do all of that for you. But you do not need a team of docs to help you figure this out, in my opinion, because it's not a stage 4 conversation, right? So you can be almost 75 years old coming up in March, been 74 last August, and lose 40 to 45 pounds on your own and get off of a med because you changed the things that you needed to change. This is so good. And then do you know how you are mitigating potential cognitive issues in the future by doing this now? I don't care what age you are. I don't care if you're 74 like she is, or you're 62 like Terry, or you're 60 like me. I don't care. You are giving the best gift that you can give to your kids. Ask me how I know. Because I took care of my mama with dementia for 5 years. She died 2 years ago this March. So I'm just telling you. Okay. All right. So how do you fix this? What you guys probably want some answers. I started with the trio. This is what I still talk about. Number one thing that I talk about all day, every day, all day, every day. And the reason why is because this is a cellular conversation. It's 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. I started just a little over 10 years ago, fully supported me in losing 3 sizes in my 50s after my cycle stopped. And I completely avoided type 2. And I'm the only person in my family who did it, because you're taking trace minerals and you're filling in, you're helping your liver to function. You're dealing with visceral fat. You're doing all of this. Okay. I'm just telling you what you're doing to your engine and your insides changes everything. And when you reach out to me, just reach out. You can just say trio and I will like get a cart for you, but I will also get you, it'll be on a page that has a button that says trio testimonials. Okay. So just know that, because if you can understand how to, if you can hear other people's stories, then you don't have to just listen to me. You need to hear all these other testimonies. OMG, like they're escalating at this point. They're bigger, they're better, they're more amazing. Like I'm just like, you lost 40 pounds since August? Like you guys, and you're 74 years old? I mean, come on. I know we wait all of our life to get answers, but good for her for actually implementing and executing. She said she's keeping up with the 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds or something like that, 25-year-olds. I always want to err on the side of not exaggerating on the younger side or whatever. Anything I'm giving you, I always want to give you lower numbers or you know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. I'm getting myself into a circle. Never mind. You know what I mean? And so, because she still works. So come on, like, let's go. Okay. So that's the trio. You can always reach out to me, put it in the comments, get into my messenger, get into my inbox on Instagram. You can do it on TikTok, but I can't send you anything that's clickable on TikTok. So I'm just telling you. So sometimes for you guys, it's either better just to go to the site, find that guide. You'll see a trio button at the same time, but look at the testimonies. Okay. And then when I do talk about the gut primer, like if you already have oral health issues, if you already have gum disease, gingivitis, stuff like that, and you need oral health help, your gut starts in your mouth. So number one, stop using mouthwashes that are killing the bacteria. That's number one. But number two, when you are taking the gut primer, when you are doing this particular product, which looks like a greens product, but it's not, it's 6 blends. One of the blends is our alkaline spices. And when you can create an alkaline environment in your body, so on the benefits of this product, liver health, oral health, yes, metabolism, yes, constipation, yes, indigestion, yes, all of the good things, yes, leaking, you're spilling nutrients, so nutritional absorption. But if you have oral health issues, this is one way to really help your oral health. Okay. And then, well, a lot of the really good results right now are, as a side note, people are adding to the trio the orange pixie stick because it's a thermogenic. So if you want to just say that it burns fat, it burns fat. That's what's happening. And people are losing, Magda lost. You're good, Magda. It's been a hard week. I'm sorry. Good to see you, Magda. Liz says that she's recovering from rotator cuff surgery. It was done in June. You have full range of motion, but not without discomfort. Yep, that was me, Liz. I worked hard for that range of motion. It was challenging. Keep going. Get that inflammation down, 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 right? Magda has joined the party. So Magda was taking the, oh, you guys are amazing. The thing is that, hold on. I'll take a screenshot and see if I can find you guys afterwards. When you drop Trio, It literally disappears after the live is done on Instagram and TikTok, but I'll see if I can find you guys. If not, reach out to me, okay? But the orange pixie stick, and I thought I had one here, but I think I literally ate it this morning, so I don't have one by me. But it's just a powdered stick, and it's a thermogenic. And so Magda lost 3.5 inches here, 2.5 inches here, and 1 inch on her hips. 90 days. So I'm just telling you. But the beginning of when people have connections to insulin resistance, let's talk about the trio, whether or not that is the perfect answer for you. Let's find out. Like, let's customize so that you don't throw spaghetti at the wall. Don't do that. Don't buy things that you don't need, and you don't have to buy stuff from me. There are other supplement companies out there. Just make sure that you are looking for third-party tested, organic farms, and you want traceability. Every single seed that is going into your body should be traceable. And if you can't find those things in a line, then come back and talk to me, because I will help make sure that the minerals that you're taking, the trace minerals, the herbs that you're taking to help detoxify at a higher level, the greens that you're taking, third-party tested off of organic farms, every seed traceable. Really important, you guys. We can't cut corners when it comes to trying to fix our bodies once and for all. Every time you cut a corner, you have 2 more corners. So choose to stop and just reach out. All right. You're so funny. All right. What time is it? 11:40. We are good. Does anybody have questions? Marge. So what is the trio? So the trio, thank you for asking. Thank you, Carol. You guys are so sweet. Kristen, Carol, you guys have me up to 4.6 thousand hearts on TikTok. You guys, I love you. I love you, man. Such good friends, you guys. Strangers that become friends. This is what the internet does. So the trio are 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. This is literally what they look like. This is what I started with a little over 10 years ago. And it really is because I didn't know how to trade out my foods because I'm Italian. So this is what they look like. You take this one 3 times a day, and then you take these 2 twice a day. Okay. And if you want to see a bunch of testimonials, you want to see the actual trio in a cart streamlined for you on TikTok, you can just go straight to my site right there. It's super easy. It's also on my profile here. It's in my bio. On everywhere you look, you'll see my site. And there's also a free, easy, like protein made simple, easy daily guide for you guys. So you know how to chunk out protein throughout the day so you can get enough protein. Protein. Those are the answers for like almost everything. But there is a trio button. There's a little yellow star and then a trio. So you can see a little short video that I did sharing this with you, 2.5 minutes long, I think. You can see a button that says trio testimonials, and it's a Google Sheet document so that you can read these testimonies that I tell you guys about. I'm just compiling as best as I can. I have somebody helping me compile the testimonies because there are so many. Read them for yourself. What else is on there that's good? The Facebook community. Get in there. Ditch insulin resistance for women. A lot of free resources here. And then I'll walk journey with you. So next Monday, when we start the 5-day reset in the group, it's free. I do it right there. You don't have to sign up for anything. I go live Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we do insulin resistance ingredient trade outs. We'll talk about, like, I'll show you my pantry, my refrigerator, because when I came into my 50s, I was just eating like a trash truck, like a garbage truck. And I exited my 50s 3 sizes smaller, a supplementing disciplined person, like I never did that before, and avoiding type 2. So I'm sure that answers your question, but if you have questions, ask me. There's also on my site that you can find, there is a text me here button. So you can text me and go, I was on your live and you were talking about the trio or that fat burner orange pixie stick, or I heard you talk about the turmeric or ashwagandha, or like, because we talk about a lot of stuff. Because girls, we need a little bit of help, don't we? We need a little bit of help coming from a few directions. All right. Any other questions for today? Otherwise, we'll see you then tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Tomorrow's Friday. And then on Monday, like set your alarm. Set your alarm for 3 p.m. for the live in the group so we can begin to like, do you need further understanding of insulin resistance? Do you need to understand why you cannot budge 1 freaking pound? Do you need to have a completely different answer for how you now do your next 90 days? February, March, April. Takes you to the beginning of May, where the birds are chirping and the flowers are blooming. I'm in Minnesota, so I'm delayed from you guys. In Florida, I'm delayed. You already have a growing season. We're waiting. So, but seriously, like everybody does think towards summer. They think towards a graduation, a wedding, a class reunion, a vacation, pictures. We don't want to be hiding behind pillows or behind our sister-in-law in pictures. We're tired of doing that. And we want a change. Well, join the list of testimonies. Terry lost 40 last year. Another person lost 40 to 45 since August. Like she's 74. Like there are no barriers. Take your limiting beliefs off. You can accomplish something completely different because you take on a completely different protocol and a completely different mental thought process towards losing weight. Okay, I'm just going to check for questions. I don't think I see any. I think we're good. I think we're good. Thank you, Kristen, for the heart puff and all the things. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. All right, I'll come back to you, TikTok, as I get off of here. And for those who put Trio, I will try to find you. And I think I'm good on Facebook. So, all right, see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And TikTok I'll jump off with you guys last, just in case you have anything. All right. Oops. There we go. All right. See you later, you guys. Have the most blessed day ever.